My fiancée snapped, "I'm tired of your boundaries and concerns. Be a man." I said, "Understood." Then I stopped involving her in anything, including the business offer I had accepted out of state. When the moving boxes showed up and she asked what was happening, she found out I'd already left. I, 33, am sitting in my new apartment 950 miles from the woman who told me to be a man. The irony is not lost on me. She is calling for the 8th time this morning, and I am staring at my phone, watching her name flash across the screen like a warning light I should have noticed years ago. I do not answer. I have not answered since the moving boxes showed up at our shared home yesterday, and she realized I was already gone. 2 weeks ago, Veronica, 31, my fiancée of 18 months, looked at me across our kitchen table and said the words that ended everything. "I'm tired of your boundaries and concerns. Be a man." She said it like she was throwing away garbage. I looked at her, this woman I had planned. A life with, and replied with, the only 2 words that mattered. Understood. She thought I was agreeing to stop pushing back. She thought I was finally going to fall in line, stop questioning her decisions, stop bringing up the small dismissals that had been piling up like unpaid bills. She smiled, turned back to her laptop, and kept scrolling through bridesmaid dress options she had already picked without asking me. What she did not know was that in that moment, I had made a decision. I would stop involving her in anything, including the business offer that had been sitting in my inbox for 3 days. The offer was from a consulting firm in Minneapolis. Relocation required, significant raise. I had been on the fence because moving meant uprooting our life, changing wedding plans, asking Veronica to leave her job. But after that night, the fence disappeared. I accepted the offer at 11:47 p.m., signed the contract, and did not say a word. Veronica and I met at a mutual friend's rooftop party 3 years ago. She was confident, direct, and had this way of making decisions quickly that I found refreshing at first. I was more cautious, deliberate. She said I balanced her out. I said she pushed me forward. For the first year, it worked. But somewhere around month 14, the balance tipped. She started making plans without asking. Small things at first. Dinner reservations at places I did not like. Weekend trips booked before I could check my calendar. I brought it up once, gently. She laughed and said I was overthinking. "You're lucky I take charge," she said. "Most guys would kill for a woman who doesn't need them to plan everything." I let it go. Then the wedding planning started. We got engaged last March. Veronica had a Pinterest board ready within hours. Venues, themes, color schemes, the works. I was excited. I thought we would plan it together. I was wrong. She booked the venue without showing me options. She picked the date that worked for her family, not ours. She chose a wedding party that included her 3 best friends and her cousin. But when I suggested my brother as my best man, she frowned. "Your brother? He's kind of awkward, don't you think? What about Preston? He photographs better." Preston was her friend's husband. I had met him twice. I pushed back. "It's my brother. He's my best man." She sighed, the kind of sigh that makes you feel like you are being difficult for having an opinion. "Fine, but he better not wear those ugly shoes he always wears." I let it slide. I let a lot slide. Then came the cake tasting she scheduled without me. The florist meeting she attended with her mother while I was at work. The invitations she ordered with fonts I had never seen. Every time I brought up wanting to be included, she had the same response. "I'm just trying to make this easier for you. You're so busy. I've got it handled." Handled like I was a client, not her partner. The breaking point came 2 weeks ago. She had been working late, or so, she said. I did not question it, because questioning Veronica usually led to accusations of not trusting her. But that Tuesday night, she came home and announced she had changed our honeymoon destination. We had agreed on Italy. She had booked Iceland. "Iceland," I said. "We talked about Italy for months." "Italy is overdone," she said, dropping her bag on the counter. "Iceland is more unique, plus I already put down the deposit." "You put down a deposit without asking me?" She turned and I saw the shift in her face, the patience running out. "Bennett, I'm tired of asking your permission for everything. I'm tired of your boundaries and concerns. Be a man." The words landed like a slap. Be a man. As if having an opinion, wanting a say in my own wedding and honeymoon, was somehow weak. I stared at her, and something inside me went quiet. Not angry, just done. "Understood," I said. She smiled, thinking she had won. Good. Now, can you look at these excursion options? I looked at my phone. Instead, the email from the Minneapolis firm was still there, waiting. Relocation required, start date 4 weeks. I opened it, read the terms one more time, and clicked reply. The next morning, I woke up before Veronica. I made coffee, sat at the kitchen table, and opened my laptop. The contract was in my inbox, countersigned. I downloaded it, saved it to a secure folder, and started a checklist. Apartment search, moving company quotes, lease termination notice, bank account separation. Veronica came downstairs at 7:30 a.m., already scrolling through her phone. She did not look up. "Can you pick up my dress from the dry cleaner today?" she said. "Sure," I said. She paused, glanced at me. "You're being agreeable. I like it." I said nothing. I had nothing left to say to her. Over the next 3 days, I searched for apartments in Minneapolis. I found a 1-bedroom in a quiet neighborhood near my new office. Rent was reasonable. Lease started in 2 weeks. I filled out the application. During my lunch break, uploaded my proof of income and submitted it. By Friday, I had approval. Veronica did not notice. She was too busy planning a bridal shower I would not be attending. That weekend, she went to a spa day with her bridesmaids. I used the time to call moving companies. I got 3 quotes, chose the most discreet option, and scheduled the move for the following Saturday. The movers agreed to come, while Veronica would be at her parents' house for a family dinner. I was suddenly too busy to attend. Sunday night, Veronica asked what I did all weekend. "Caught up on work," I said. She nodded, already back on her phone. The lease termination notice was trickier. Our apartment was in both our names, but I had been the one paying rent for the last 8 months, while Veronica saved for the wedding. I called the landlord, explained I was relocating for work, and asked about early termination. He said if I could find someone to take over my half of the lease, he would allow it. I did not need to find someone. I just needed my name off. I told him Veronica would be staying and could cover the full rent. He said he would need her signature confirming she could afford it. I told him I would handle it. I drafted a document, simple and clean, stating that I was transferring my lease obligations to Veronica, effective immediately. I left it in a folder labeled apartment stuff on the kitchen counter, buried under a stack of wedding magazines she never read. She signed it without reading, assuming it was some renewal paperwork. By Monday, my name was off the lease. She had no idea. The job offer was official. My start date was locked in. I had 2 weeks to move my entire life without Veronica noticing. It sounds impossible, but when someone stops paying attention to you, you become invisible. I started with the small things. Clothes I did not wear often, books she never noticed, kitchen items I had brought into the relationship. I packed them into boxes and stored them in my car, driving them to a storage unit I rented under my name only. Veronica asked once why I was going out so much. I said I was meeting old friends. She said okay and went back to her phone. The movers were scheduled for Saturday, May 11th. Veronica had a family dinner that day at her parents' house across town. She invited me. I said I had a work deadline. She did not push. On Friday night, I packed the last of my things. My desk, my gaming console, the framed photo of my family that Veronica had once said clashed with the decor. I wrapped it carefully, placed it in a box labeled office, and sealed it with tape that felt like finality. Veronica came home late, smelling like wine and perfume. "Dinner was amazing," she said. "You should have come." "Next time," I said. There would be no next time. Saturday morning, the movers arrived at 9 a.m. Veronica had already left for her parents' house, coffee in hand, telling me she would be back by 3 p.m. I watched her. Car disappeared down the street, then opened the door for the movers. They were efficient. Furniture, boxes, everything labeled and loaded in under 2 hours. I walked through the apartment one last time, making sure I left nothing behind. The only things remaining were hers. Her couch, her dishes, her life. I left an envelope on the kitchen counter. Inside was a letter, 1 page typed and printed. No emotions, just facts. Veronica, I have accepted a position in Minneapolis and relocated effective today. The lease is in your name as of May 6th per the document you signed. The engagement is over. I will not be responding to calls or messages. I wish you well. Bennett. I placed my key next to the envelope, walked out, and locked the door behind me. By noon, I was in my car driving west. By 6 p.m., I was in my new apartment, 950 miles away, unpacking the life I had quietly reclaimed. Sunday morning, I woke up to 17 missed calls and 23 text messages, all from Veronica. I did not read them. I did not need to. I knew exactly what they said. The moving company had scheduled a final delivery to the old apartment on Sunday. A few items that did not fit in the truck, mainly boxes of books and office supplies. I had forgotten to cancel it. Or maybe I had not forgotten. Maybe I wanted her to see the boxes, to realize I was already gone. At 10:32 a.m., my phone rang again. I answered this time, not because I wanted to talk, but because I wanted her to hear my voice and know I was calm. "Bennett, what the hell is going on?" Her voice was sharp, frantic. "There are boxes here, moving boxes with your name on them." "I relocated," I said, "for work." "You what? When? Why didn't you tell me?" "You told me to be a man," I said. "I made a decision." Silence then. "This is insane. You can't just leave. We're engaged. We have a wedding in 4 months." "We had a wedding," I said. "You planned it. I was just supposed to show up." "Bennett, please, we can talk about this. Come back. We can fix this." I looked around my new apartment. Bare walls, empty shelves, quiet. For the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe. "There's nothing to fix," I said. "The lease is in your name. The apartment is yours. The engagement is over. You can't do this." Her voice cracked. "You can't just walk away." "I already did." I hung up. She called back immediately. I turned off my phone. By Monday, Veronica had called my office, my new office. I do not know how she got the number, but she did. My assistant told me there was a woman on the line claiming to be my fiancée, demanding to speak to me. I told her I did not have a fiancé and to block the number. Veronica's texts shifted from frantic to angry. Screenshots started appearing. Messages to mutual friends trying to paint me as unstable, as someone who abandoned her without warning. She told people I had a breakdown, that I was going through something and needed help. Our mutual friend Quinn called me Tuesday night. "Man, Veronica's losing it. She's saying you just vanished. What happened?" I told him the truth. The unilateral decisions, the dismissals, the "be a man" comment, the silent exit. He was quiet for a moment, then said, "Yeah, I can see that. She's always been kind of controlling. I just didn't think you'd actually leave." "I didn't leave," I said. "I relocated. There's a difference." By Wednesday, Veronica's family got involved. Her mother called me from Veronica's phone, thinking I would answer if it was not Veronica's name on the screen. I did not. She left a voicemail. "Bennett, this is Helen. We need to talk about what you've done to my daughter. This is unacceptable. You owe her an explanation." I did not owe her anything. I had given my explanation in a 1-page letter. If that was not enough, nothing would be. Thursday, Veronica tried a different approach. She sent an email. Subject line, "Please read this." The email was long, emotional, full of apologies and promises to change. She said she did not realize how much she had been dismissing me. She said she wanted to work on it. She said she loved me. I read it once, then archived it. Love is not a weapon you pull out when someone finally sets a boundary. Friday, a package arrived at my new apartment. I did not recognize the sender. Inside was the engagement ring I had given her, along with a note. "If you're really done, then take this back. I don't want it." I looked at the ring, a platinum band with a single diamond I had saved 6 months to buy. I had proposed on a beach at sunset, the kind of moment she had posted about for weeks. Now it was in a cardboard box, mailed back like a return purchase. I did not keep it. I took it to a jeweler in Minneapolis, sold it, and donated the money to a men's mental health charity. The receipt showed $2,800. I kept a copy, not because I needed proof, but because I wanted to remember the exact value of what I had reclaimed. 2 weeks into my new life, Veronica's attempts to contact me had slowed. The calls went from daily to every few days, the text from paragraphs to single questions. "Are you really not coming back? Is this really over? Do you even care?" I did not respond. Silence was my answer. Then her friends started reaching out, not to yell, but to ask questions. Her best friend Stella sent me a message on social media. "Hey, I know things are messy right now, but I just want to understand. Veronica says you left without any warning. Is that true?" I replied with one sentence. I told her I was tired of being dismissed. She told me to be a man. I did. Stella did not respond. But 2 days later, another friend, another message, this time from Preston, the guy Veronica wanted as my best man. Dude, Veronica is saying you bailed because you couldn't handle wedding planning. That's not true, is it? I sent him a screenshot. The text I had sent Veronica 3 months ago, asking if we could sit down and talk about the wedding plans. Her response, I've got it handled. You just need to show up and look good. Preston read it, then replied, Man, that's rough. I didn't know. By the 3rd week, the narrative Veronica had been spinning started to crack. People who knew us both began asking her direct questions. Why did Bennett leave? What happened? She had no good answers, because the truth made her look bad. Her mother called me one last time. This time, her tone was different. Not angry, but tired. Bennett, I don't know what happened between you two, and frankly, it's not my business, but Veronica is struggling. She's having trouble with the rent. The apartment is expensive and she can't cover it alone. The lease is in her name, I said. She signed the transfer. She didn't know what she was signing. That's not my problem, Helen paused. You've changed. No, I said. I just stopped being a doormat. She hung up. I never heard from her again. Veronica's final attempt came a month after I left. She showed up at my office in Minneapolis. I do not know how she found it, but she did. She waited in the lobby, and when I came down for lunch, she was there. Bennett, she said, standing up. She looked thinner, tired. Please, can we just talk? I looked at her, this woman I had once planned a future with, and felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, just distance. There's nothing to talk about. I'm sorry, she said. I'm sorry for dismissing you. I'm sorry for the Iceland thing, the wedding stuff, all of it. I didn't realize how much I was hurting you. You didn't realize because you weren't paying attention, I said. And I stayed because I thought things would change. They didn't. They can now, she said. I can change. I shook my head. You'll change for the next person, not for me. She reached for my arm. I stepped back. Don't, I said. She dropped her hand, tears in her eyes. So that's it. You're just done. I was done the moment you told me to be a man, I said. Everything after that was just logistics. I walked past her, out the door, and did not look back. 3 months after I left, I heard through Quinn that Veronica had moved out of the apartment. She could not afford the rent on her own, and her parents refused to help. After she admitted she had signed the lease transfer without reading it, she moved back in with them. A 31-year-old woman sleeping in her childhood bedroom. The wedding was canceled, deposits lost, invitations never sent. Her friends stopped asking about me, stopped defending her story. The truth had a way of spreading, especially when people started comparing notes. Quinn told me Veronica had tried dating again, but it did not go well. She's different now, he said, quieter. I think losing you really messed her up. I did not feel bad. I felt nothing. Her social media went dark. No more posts about wedding planning, no more photos of her perfect life. Just silence. The same silence I had given her when I left. Her. Mother sent me one final email 6 months later. Bennett, I want you to know that Veronica has been in therapy. She's working on herself. I know you've moved on, and I respect that, but I thought you should know she's trying. I read the email, then deleted it. Veronica's growth was not my responsibility. It never had been. It has been a year since I left. My life in Minneapolis is quiet, stable, and entirely mine. I got promoted at work. I bought a house, a small 2-bedroom with a backyard and a view of the lake. I started running again, something I had given up, because Veronica said it took too much time away from wedding planning. I joined a hiking group, took up photography, learned to cook properly instead of eating takeout every night. Simple pleasures that felt revolutionary after years of having my interests dismissed or redirected. The consulting firm appreciated my work ethic. Within 6 months, I was leading client presentations that I would have never been confident enough to handle before. My manager mentioned that I seemed more decisive, more willing to advocate for my ideas. I did not tell him it was because I had finally learned the difference between being considerate and being spineless. I met someone new. Her name is Natalie. She is a teacher, thoughtful, and the first time we disagreed about where to go for dinner, she said, "What do you think? I want to make sure we both want this." I almost cried. It was such a simple thing, But after Veronica, it felt like a miracle. When I told Natalie about my previous relationship, she listened without judgment. "It sounds like you made a hard decision that was right for you," she said. "That takes strength. We are taking things slow. No rushing, no unilateral decisions, no dismissals. She asks my opinion, and when I give it, she listens. When she makes plans, she checks with me first. Not because she needs permission, but because she values my input. We went to Italy for a long weekend. The trip. Veronica had canceled for Iceland. Natalie planned the whole thing, then asked if there was anything I wanted to add or change. I suggested a cooking class in Rome. She loved the idea. Our mutual friends have adjusted. Some took Veronica's side initially, believing her version of events. But when details emerged, when people started comparing notes and asking questions, the truth became clear. I did not need to defend myself. The facts spoke for themselves. Quinn remains a good friend. He admitted he had noticed Veronica's controlling behavior, but never said anything because he thought I could handle it. "I should have spoken up," he said. "Friends are supposed to call out red flags." I told him it would not have mattered. I needed to see it for myself. Preston ironically became an unexpected ally. After seeing the screenshots of my attempts to be included in wedding planning, he reached out to apologize. "I had no idea she was shutting you out like that. If I had known, I never would have gone along with her suggestions about the wedding party." We grab coffee sometimes when he is in Minneapolis on business. He told me his own marriage improved after he started setting clearer boundaries with his wife's tendency to make decisions for both of them. I do not think about Veronica often, but when I do, I think about that night in the kitchen when she told me to be a man. I think about how I could have yelled, could have fought, could have demanded she respect me, but I did not. I just left. Because being a man is not about raising your voice or asserting dominance. It is about knowing your worth and walking away when someone refuses to see it. It is about making decisions that honor your values, even when those decisions are difficult. The engagement ring money funded a weekend trip to the North Shore with Natalie. We hiked along Lake Superior, watched the sunrise paint the water gold, and she asked me if I had any regrets. I thought about it, really thought. "And about it?" "No," I said, "I don't." She smiled. "Good, because I think you made the right call." "I think so too. Veronica wanted a man who made decisions. I made one. I decided I was worth more than being her project, her accessory, her afterthought. And the moment I made that decision, everything else fell into place. Some people call it revenge. I call it self-respect. The moving boxes that showed up at our old apartment were not just containers for my belongings. They were evidence that I had finally stopped negotiating with someone who saw compromise as weakness and boundaries as inconvenience. I have never felt more like a man than I do right now. Sitting in a house I chose, with a woman who values my voice, living a life I built on my own terms. Veronica got what she wanted, a man who makes decisions. She just did not expect the decision would be to leave. The truth is, the strongest thing you can do when someone tells you to be a man is to show them exactly what that looks like. Sometimes it means standing your ground and fighting. Sometimes it means walking away with your dignity intact. The real test of character is knowing which moment calls for which response. I chose to walk away not because I was weak, but because I was finally strong enough to value myself more than the relationship. That is the insight that has guided every decision since. Respect yourself enough to leave situations where respect is not mutual, because the right person will never ask you to diminish yourself to fit into their life.